more about that subject right here. That's it for us today. Thanks for watching The Factor. Hannity and Colmes is next. They'll have more reaction to Jackson's acquittal. I'm Bill O'Reilly. Hope to see you again next time. Remember, The Spin stops right here because we are definitely looking out for you. And welcome to Hannity and Colmes. Thank you for being with us. I'm Sean Hannity. It's a very busy news day, and we'll have all the latest from California and the acquittal of Michael Jackson in just a minute. But also coming up tonight is the interview that you've heard about, have been reading about, my exclusive sit-down interview with Vice President Dick Cheney. Now, he broke news about Guantanamo Bay, his political future for 2008, and, of course, his feelings about DNC Chair Howard Dean.
And I think Howard Dean's over the top. I've never been able to understand his appeal. I mean, maybe his mother loved him, but I've never met anybody who does.
Now, you don't want to miss it. That's all coming up tonight. First, our top story comes from the courthouse in Santa Maria, California.
The people of the state of California, plaintiff versus Michael Joe Jackson, defendant, case number 1133603, count 1, verdict. We, the jury, in the above entitled case, find the defendant not guilty of conspiracy as charged in count 1 of the indictment.
After a trial and jury deliberation that together lasted almost 6 months, Michael Jackson was acquitted today of all 10 counts brought against him, including charges of child molestation and administering alcohol to a minor. You are looking live at the gates of the Neverland Ranch. It's the place the prosecution called the scene of the crime, and tonight it's the place where Michael Jackson is a free man. We are watching and waiting for late-breaking developments, and if they happen, we'll bring them to you tonight live. And now for all the latest on today's verdict, we're joined from the courthouse in Santa Maria by Fox News legal analyst Bob Massey. We're also joined by former prosecutor Marcia Clark of the O.J. Simpson fame, who is also a contributor to Justice Magazine and just wrote a great piece on the Jackson case. In Los Angeles, we are joined by celebrity justice correspondent Pat Lalama. And here in our New York studio, the host of At Large, our very own Geraldo Rivera. And I got to start with you, Geraldo. You called it. Exactly.
Well, I guess we keep my mustache there, Sean.
We had a little bet. Well, you said if he was found
not guilty.
Not guilty.
On all counts.
If he was found guilty,
if he was found guilty, I was going to shave off my iconic mustache that I've had for almost 40 years.
And what was I going to do?
You're going to give $1,000 to the charity of my choice, Wounded Vets.
And what is it? Done.
Wounded Vets.
All right, Doug.
Okay, Wounded Veterans, you owe him $1,000.
You got a deal. All right. I'm a man of my word. Have you spoken to Michael? Have you heard from his camp?
We called the family. We heard him buzzing in the background. We could get the call at any time. My brother Craig has the cell phone in his hands. And
he might call you during the show?
He might call us during the show, right.
All right,
he might call us momentarily.
All right, well, let me, now, Pat Lalama, you were on the opposite side of this, by the way.
Yes, and congratulations to Mr. Geraldo. I have to give it to you. I haven't been so wrong since the O.J. Simpson case, I have to tell you. I'm considering a new line of work, but I'm very upset about it.
Hang on, Pat, one second. That's yes. Thomas Mesereau, his attorney, leaving the Neverland Ranch right now as we speak here. But go ahead, Pat.
Well, anyway, I was just going to say, I mean, it's very troubling to me for a whole lot of reasons that I don't necessarily need to repeat now. But here's the thing. I'm concerned for any kids who feel
please, don't
need
go
to
down
come
that
forward.
Way. This was not about...
Basically, Geraldo, can I talk, please? Please, may I? With all due respect, I'll let you do your thing, okay? I'm concerned because there's a lot of things that happened today that concern me. Number one, that jury comes out with a written statement that says, we felt the eyes of the world and the weight upon our shoulders. That should never have been a consideration. When the jurors were asked, question number one, how did you feel about that accuser? Nobody wanted to answer. What was the heaviest evidence? Nobody wanted to answer. I'm very concerned about what they really thought was the important thing in this
Before we go to Marcia and Bob, I want to go to you, Geraldo. Just because somebody in this country is found not guilty doesn't mean they're innocent of the charges, and you know that.
Sean, give him a break. When I risked my mustache and my reputation in a case standing alone, basically, among the pundits, I did it not because of emotional or subjective reasons. I analyzed the evidence against this man. This case never should have been brought. If his name was Jackson Michael instead of Michael Jackson, he never even would have been indicted.
All right, but let me. You're a good friend, though, Geraldo. In your mind and in your heart, his actions has brought all the suspicion upon him. There is a chance, and you know that there's a chance, that he may be guilty of this, even though they may not have been able to prove it in this case. His conduct, his sleeping with boys, his paying out millions, brings a lot of suspicion on him.
Sean, I may be the only person in the world who is friends with both Michael Jackson and Sean Hannity. and I'm proud of both relationships.
If I get in trouble, I want you to defend me.
Mike, I'll have your back just as I had his, because this was not fair. This was a grifter family with a record that was so checkered. It was pathetic. It was sickening. This was a setup. It never would have been brought if it was in any other county. Tom Sneddon has had this grudge for 13 years. He used the mechanism of the state to get this.
Marcia Clark, do you want to weigh in?
Sure, I totally disagree with everything Geraldo said. I think it's completely false. I've handled hundreds of child molestation cases. I followed the evidence in this case very carefully. I was in the courtroom. I know what went on in this trial. I really do fear that it was a celebrity mentality that caused this verdict to happen. I know the jurors maybe consciously don't realize that, and giving them all the deference that I possibly can. They were overwhelmed with the weight of the celebrity. This guy Jackson is huge, much huger than Simpson ever was, and they simply did not want to find him guilty. And every case will always give jurors excuses
by the way, would you
to vote
compare
not guilty, and they found them. I do not believe for one second, and I feel very badly tonight. Everybody's having a lot of fun debating this. I want to think 1 minute about these little boys who were victims that no one's talking about right now. How do you think they feel tonight?
How do you know that they're victims, Marcia?
What
substitutes your judgment for the jury's, Marcia?
And these little boys are home feeling that no one believes them. And
this avalanche of hysterical rhetoric doesn't make him guilty. What is the evidence? His mother made him lie against his own father. His mother made him lie against J.C. Penney's. This has been a fake case.
Hold on, guys. Let me get Bob Massey in here. Bob, the fact is the jury did not like the mother. The mother she turned the jury off. If you heard their comments afterwards, and they couldn't prove it beyond reasonable doubt. Isn't that what happened here?
Alan, you know, I think, really, no disrespect to some of the other guests, but it's a little too cynical. You know, they lost the case. This was a family. I sat through this trial. This is a family that crumbled under cross-examination. I mean, I don't care what anybody says. Unless you sat in this trial and you watched the examination, Tom Mesereau cross-examined and dismantled this entire family. And the bottom line is there was credibility problems all over the place. You can't be a poor loser on this case.
Pat LaLama, they brought bad witnesses. They brought people who were tainted. They brought people who could not substantiate. And that's what happened here.
And not only that, Al, listen. Look, Michael Jackson was willing to walk through that courtroom and fight the case. Wait a second.
Since it was addressed to me.
Wait a second, please. I was at the courthouse watching this trial. Michael Jackson had to go to trial, and he was willing to walk out a convicted man today, as well as walk out as a free man. He had a great lawyer, and what that lawyer did was he tested the system. And he said to the system, if you can prove beyond a reasonable doubt, then my client's willing to go to jail. But if you can't, my guy's willing to walk out. And the fact that they lost should not be some type of just a bad taste in your mouth. Nobody wants to see children molested. But wait a second. They lost the case. And they had a bad family. And they had a dysfunctional family. And they had a mother. No disrespect to the ladies. The women hated the mother. She was reprehensible on the
Pat LaLama, wasn't that a mistake, putting the mother up, putting the family up, putting up people who could not be credible to a jury? Isn't that what happened here?
Of
it
course,
was terrible, and the conspiracy charge is what got
Pat LaLama, go.
My name is Pat LaLama. Let me finish that one, okay?
Right,
this
20
is
seconds,
a very
Pat.
troubled family. This is a very troubled family. But aside from that, this child was a victim. This
How do you know
child
that?
has to go through
That's
life
not
now
true.
and
That's
say,
not right.
nobody believed me, even though my mother's whacked, okay? Now no kid in the world will go forward.
All right,
even
guys.
if
That is
the
such
mother's
pathetic
whacked.
All right, hang on. We got a lot more.
terrible
We got a
to
lot
say.
more to come tonight on the verdict in the Michael Jackson case. And famed attorney Gloria Allred, she'll join us, tell us what she thinks of the outcome. Plus, we're going to find out what the verdict means for Michael Jackson's own children. And then tonight, right here, an exclusive interview with Vice President Dick Cheney. He speaks out about controversial DNC Chair Howard Dean. He'll set the record straight on his plans for 2008, plus the very latest on the search for missing Alabama teen Natalie Holloway. Do the suspects in custody know more than they're telling police? Holloway's family says yes. We have new details. We'll bring them to you tonight. Straight ahead.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Lori Dew. At least one person has reportedly been killed in the aftermath of a massive earthquake in northern Chile. The U.S. Geological Survey says the quake measured 7.9. It affected a heavily populated city, triggering mudslides, driving people from their homes, and knocking out power. The head of the UN's nuclear watchdog agency has been granted a third term. Mohammed El-Baradei thanked the U.S. following his unanimous reappointment to the IAEA today. The Bush administration had originally opposed it, saying UN agency heads should serve for only 2 terms, but later dropped its opposition. California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger has called a special election to reform the state's government, saying he wants to change the way California spends money, picks its politicians, and hires teachers. The governor says those issues need to be addressed now. The election will be held in November, but critics say it will be simply too expensive. And HIV cases in the U.S. have hit a record high. The government says more than 1 million people were living with HIV at the end of 2003. Critics say that estimate reflects a failure of prevention. But the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention notes the increase also shows that medicines allow people to live longer with the virus. I'll see you again at the bottom of the hour for more headlines, but stay tuned. Hannity and Combs